PAM MURCHISON, Executive Director of the Pittsburgh New Music Ensemble. Now, music itself has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So what is there left to hear?
Well, lots of things. We focus on music by living composers. In our 39-year history, we've commissioned and premiered nearly 300 new works by whoever the emerging composers of the times.
Now let's talk about new music itself, because, I mean, to clarify, we're not talking about, the next rap star on the radio. This is contemporary. I mean, how do you define it, really?
Well, all the foundations and funders say since 1945. So it's a pretty broad category. And in that regard, not 1945, a lot has changed since then. So that's not even really that current.
I can't do the splits anymore. A lot's changed.
Yeah.
And contemporary music that I have heard, a lot of it, it's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some wacky stuff. It's so I guess it might be hard to define. I mean, is new music still a very diverse category or genre?
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of people have the association of new music being, like you said, really chaotic and difficult to listen to. A lot of it is really beautiful and really accessible. And our artistic director, Kevin, programs a lot of that music too. So what's really nice about a Pittsburgh New Music Ensemble concert is that you don't really know what you're gonna get. And it can go from something that feels really out of control and really chaotic to something that is just really utterly sublime and really, really beautiful and moving. So that's actually one of my favorite things about new music, is it really is about the individual voice of the composer. And we're at a point now where people can write what they feel compelled to write. But yeah, you never really know what's going to happen in the moment, and that's what I think makes live music so compelling. And why I'm so happy to be a performing musician myself, but then also part of this group that is really exploratory and really sort of pushes limits and puts things that make seem like they don't go together on the same program. Yeah.
And the thing that I learned recently, and I think maybe the misconception that some might have about an organization called Pittsburgh New Music Ensemble is that you're new. But this organization has a very rich history here.
Absolutely.
You're celebrating, what is it, 30, 40?
39th. This year is our 39th season, and so we're looking, 2015 is 40 years.
The big 4-0.
We're going to have to change our signature color from lime to ruby. But we are always doing new music. We've got 2 really big world premieres this year that we're really happy about. We've got at least one planned for next year. And then we also, as a composer, it is really challenging to get commissions and to get your pieces premiered. But what's even more challenging is getting your pieces performed a second, third, fourth time, right? And that's what really makes them part of the repertoire. And so we try and have a hand in that as well. City Theater has been our home for the past several years.
Great.
Ever since the Hazlitt went under its transformation to become the new Hazlitt is at what point we made the move. So it's probably been 7 or 8 years.
And we are
guess.
Here today in the City Theater, where the New Music Ensemble will be performing. A great space.
It's lovely.
For any live performance, but especially Pittsburgh New Music Ensemble, because the ensemble actually puts a lot of theatricality into the performances, with lighting and creating a mood around the pieces. So you're not just really sitting and listening to music, you're having an experience, it seems.
Absolutely. So the show, starts as soon as you walk into the theater. Really, with the tone and the atmosphere, and Kevin's programming and staging, and coupled with we have that famous Polish lighting designer, Andy Ostrowski.
He is famous.
He is
that
famous.
Guy lights everything in town.
And he is one of the kindest, most generous people I've ever met. And so we are so fortunate to have those 2 great brains working together, along with Chris McGlumphy, who's our sound designer, to create something that is really immersive and we like to think of it as the theater of music. Another thing that I really love about new music is that you kind of can't avoid realizing that composers are people too. A lot of times you go and hear Mozart or Beethoven, and they are on these pedestals, right? The ivory busts.
Yeah, literally on a pedestal.
He was just a guy too. And I think people forget that a lot of times. Like, the music is funny, or sometimes it's naughty, or sometimes it's reflecting, certainly in the case of Mahler, like these really profoundly sad things that happened to him. But they were just guys too, and I love that, sort of the story behind it, and I think that's something that's easy to forget when you've got the distance of a couple of 100 years.
I think this particular group, you guys like to have a good time, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a fun gang.
Yeah, we love, after every concert, the ensemble comes out on stage. We love to meet with people. There's really no distance between the artists and the audience. We really want it to be a really engaging, immersive, personal experience. I mean, I'm a big fan of there's no wrong reaction.
Where do you see contemporary music and composers going, say, in the next 10, 20, 50 years? I mean, have you seen things trending in new music, styles, usage of certain instruments or anything? Where do you see it developing?
Well, I think that especially with new music, there's a real natural affinity between new music and technology. This advent of electroacoustic music, also live processed music.
What would the Song of Pittsburgh sound like?
Oh, I don't know. If you want the new music version, I probably wouldn't be able to sing it for you.
Well, we could try. Let's see. What aspects would it have?
Oh.
It would need to be gritty, but pretty.
Yeah.
In fact, I could put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, gritty and pretty.
There you go.
So how do we achieve that? I almost see like, when the chanting monks were popular and kind of how they had that little discordant. I think it needs to start with that.
A little dissonance.
And we need some metallic clanking things.
And then the rivers, of course.
Yeah, a lot of what's that thing that goes what is that instrument?
Well, we can. In kinder music, we do with our
We're really going basic here.
No, I teach kinder music too, yeah.
All right, so
this is all, we're inventing, we're being resourcell.
We are doing this right now. Okay, here's the Song of Pittsburgh. It starts with the rivers. And then...
Well, in here we should clink on our...
Oh yeah, wait, this is the Song of Burgh Vivant right there.
There you go, there's the clinking.
That's what we usually say. What sound does Brian Edward make? Clink!
I'm a flutist.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Flautist.
Sure.
Is it, which is correct?
Well, it's really good that we're putting this on the record, because my husband won't believe that I said that I literally have no opinion about that. I don't know what the difference is.
So you'll answer to either?
Sure. So I think that our biggest commitment is to try and best interpret what the composer writes down on the page.
You are merely a vessel for the art of the composer.
Especially as we look at week 4 this summer, our show Drunken Moon is definitely something that...
Drunken Moon?
Yeah.
I was arrested once for that in Chattanooga.
Yeah, or haven't we all been? Yeah, although... being in the space.
That's a great point. And even when I myself go to the symphony...
I'm in a habit of only making great points.
Me too, after a couple of these.
Yeah. And they were short movements, so you just sort of sink into it for 30 seconds, and then the next movement is completely different. And
then you go to the bathroom and have a movement yourself.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. And it's a really remarkable work of 11 miniature movements that are all based on the first lines of different poems. And one of the poets...
Didn't they do this with cats? Wake up at the crack of ice every morning.
Yeah.